Hello, welcome back to my house. Today I'm going to convince you of something that I've known for a very long time, which is that Dracula is the first and best harem anime of all time. I know it's a bold statement, just come with me. So I'm gonna set the stage. We're going for teens, we're going for boarding school, we're going for a vibe where there's like an old man who's watching over all these kids who can't control their hormones. Listen, just come with me on this journey. I'm going to recast, and here's what you need to know. Here are the main characters. Mina Harker, Jonathan Harker, Lucy Westenra, Dr. John Seward, Quincy Morris. Now that we're here, let's begin the story. This book starts the same way that a lot of 19th century books start, one of my favorite ways that books start, which is that it's a person writing a letter to another person. So we're dropped in medias res, we don't know what the fuck is going on. It's Jonathan Harker writing to his fiancée, Mina. Jonathan Harker is a lawyer. He had to leave her behind. He has an expensive client that his boss wants him to take care of. This is like a big opportunity for him. It's in Transylvania. You know where this is going. It's a vampire is who his client is. He doesn't know that. He's just going up into the mountains, and every time that he mentions where he's going, the villagers are like, oh my god, take this cross, take this garlic. Jonathan's like, haha, all of these gifts, what a crazy little village. Okay, he goes up into the mountains. There's a man who's like riding a carriage. The man disappears from the carriage when they get to the castle, and then Dracula comes like 10 minutes later, and Jonathan's like, is this not the same? Are there any other people here? But he's like, okay, I'm not going to say anything because maybe he's embarrassed that he had to fire his servants or something. He goes inside. You know what happens next. It's a vampire. He traps Jonathan inside. He's having Jonathan buy English property for him. He's learning all this shit about English culture and English mannerisms and how to speak. He taught himself English from all these books, but he's like, I don't have the accent down. You and me are going to do accent practice. At first, it's like, okay, this seems okay. After a while, he keeps on making excuses like, you can't go outside, Jonathan. It's dangerous out there. Eventually, it becomes a little insidious. So Dracula goes out for long stretches at a time, goes out. You know what's happening. Dracula goes out for long stretches at a time, comes back at night and goes, wow, so tired from doing business all day. He was sleeping because the man is a vampire. Jonathan doesn't know that at the time. He's restricted from certain areas of the house. One day while Dracula is out, Jonathan's like, fuck this. I'm going to go to the other areas of the house that I'm not allowed to be in. What am I scared of? This old man? So he goes to a different section of the house, falls asleep on a couch, wakes up, these sexy vampiresses are seducing him. Here are the vampiresses, by the way. So, Jonathan Harker is surrounded by these like sexy vampiresses who are like trying to kiss him, and he's like, oh my god, they're so sexy. Like, their lips are red, it's blood. They're like so plump and pink from drinking blood, and they're so like, so there's something about them to try and seduce you so that they can drink your blood. But I can't because I love my wife, my fiance Mina, but also I really fucking want this. Luckily, Dracula shows up and is like, get back. I told you guys to fuck off. He's mine. Jonathan's like, that seems weird. He wakes up in his bedroom and is like, I don't think that was a dream. So he starts spying on Dracula and notices that Dracula is Spider-Man crawling out of his window at night, like flat hands and shit. Jonathan's like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm afraid. So he decides to sneak into Dracula's room while Dracula's out. He sneaks into his room, and the man's room is just full of dusty gold. Just dusty gold. Nothing else in the room. There's dust on it. There's cobwebs and shit. Jonathan's like, this is highly ominous. This is a highly ominous situation. Also, he tried to write letters to Mina being like, I think some weird shit's going on. Dracula intercepted the letters, read them, threw the envelopes, and then burned them. That's when he started making Jonathan write these letters that say like, I'm fine, Mina, love you, everything's great. Dracula's a great guy, by the way. Dated 2 weeks from today. It becomes clear to Jonathan that Dracula is coming to the end of his plan and he's going to kill Jonathan. So Jonathan's like, it's time for me to get out of here. I guess Dracula catches him at one point and is like, if you wanted to go, you could just let me know. He opens the door. There's a fucking pack of wolves out there. Jonathan's like, I'm good, actually. I'll stay. And then the next day when the sun is out, he tries to sneak out the window. That's the last entry we have of Jonathan's journal. Section 2, Mina. Now, Mina is a journalist, and they are super, super like, I just want to be a journalist, and I love my fiance, and my life is going to be so good. Mina's BFF, Mina's main friend, Mina's best girl. That's Lucy Westenra. Lucy starts writing to Mina. Mina's really sad, by the way, because their boyfriend, their fiance, has been gone at this like Transylvanian castle for like weeks and weeks. And they're like, he keeps on sending letters that say he's okay, but I expected him to be back by now. So Lucy is writing these letters to Mina like, Mina, it's been so long since I've seen you. Also, all these guys keep on proposing to me. Mina's like, that's so great for you. Lucy has 3 men propose to her because she's dumb and hot, and men like that apparently. So the 3 men that propose to Lucy are Quincy Morris. He's a Texan from America. She likes him because he uses slang and he swears, and she's like, kind of dangerous. Next guy proposes, Lakeith Stanfield as Dr. John Stewart. He is like a young, hot doctor who runs a mental asylum, a mental institution, an insane asylum, whatever. This is the 19th century. We also get a side view of all of Dr. John Stewart's personal journals where he writes about this one patient he's obsessed with called Renfield. Table this, but Renfield, Elijah Wood, and you will see why. Third guy proposes, Lord Arthur Homewood, an aristocrat. So she's like, oh my god, he proposed. Sorry, fuck you to Quincy and fuck you to John Stewart. It's gotta be Arthur for me. Lucy writes to Mina, is like, I picked a guy, it's Arthur. Mina's like, great, I'll come and celebrate with you because you're my best girl and I love you. Mina goes to this little town where Lucy lives and is now her roommate. At this time, a ship from Russia runs aground all of a sudden. And everybody's like, what the fuck is happening? What's with the captain? We had the sirens blaring, we had a lighthouse going, they didn't stop at all. They go out to see what the fuck is wrong with the captain. Is he drunk or what? Not a single alive person on this whole ship. Dead people everywhere. There's one person left on the ship and it's a dead body tied to a steering wheel. A big black dog runs off the ship, highly suspicious. They go looking around, there's nothing on the boat at all except for boxes of dirt. You know what's happening. They read the ship's log. Turns out, of course, they just brought all these boxes of dirt. They were like, I don't know why we've been hired to bring these dirt boxes to London, but here we go. Slowly, one by one, everybody started dying. Finally, when it was down to the last 3 guys, they started to believe maybe it's something supernatural. The last guy tied himself to the steering wheel just in the hopes of getting them there. They crash. Everyone's dead. Everybody lets it go except for Mina, who's like, I'm going to write this down because as an aspiring journalist, this seems like this is not something that I should be letting go. Lucy begins sleepwalking. Mina is now Lucy's roommate. Mina takes it upon herself as Lucy's best friend to be responsible for Lucy's sleepwalking. Mina goes and follows Lucy, and one night sees a crazy shadow with red glowing eyes standing over Lucy. Mina's like, I do not like this. They run over to Lucy and goes, excuse me. Lucy wakes up. Shadow disappears. Lucy is very pale and has 2 bite marks on her neck. You know what's happening. Mina does not know at this point. They walk home with Lucy. Lucy starts getting sick. So Mina calls the man who had proposed to Lucy, Dr. John Stewart. Lakeith Stanfield, sidebar, is dealing with this guy called Renfield, Elijah Wood, who is eating flies. Just fucking eating flies. And then one day starts trapping spiders by putting flies in the corners for the spiders and eats the spiders. And then after that, starts trapping birds and eats the birds. And then asks for a cat. And Dr. John Stewart is like, I do not think I should let this man have a cat. So he's analyzing this guy Renfield, and Dr. John Stewart eventually hypothesizes somewhere down the book that Renfield believes he can extend his lifespan by consuming other lives. If he eats 100 flies, he could also just eat 1 spider that has already eaten hundreds of flies. Or he could eat 2 birds that have eaten hundreds of spiders. Or he could eat 1 cat that has eaten hundreds of birds. You see where I'm going? You understand? So Dr. John Stewart gets called in to try and help out Lucy, because Mina's like, I know you proposed to her. I know this is weird for you, but she's sick. Dr. John Stewart is like, this is above what I can do. I'm going to call my mentor. He calls his mentor in, Dr. Van Helsing. You know Van Helsing. It's exactly who you think it is. So Stephen Yun, Dr. Abraham Van Helsing, comes in from Germany and is like, I have a suspicion that this is what it is. I really hope it's not. Let's put some garlic around just to see. So he puts garlic around and Lucy starts getting better. Dr. Van Helsing's like, oh shit, I don't like the implications of this. Lucy's mom takes the garlic off the walls because she's like, ew, it stinks and it's ugly. Lucy all of a sudden starts getting sick again. Dr. Van Helsing takes Dr. Seward's blood and transfuses it into Lucy. Lucy gets better. Dr. Van Seward eventually loses so much blood trying to help Lucy get better that he's like, I cannot lose any more blood. Van Helsing's like, I agree. I will donate my own blood. Dr. Van Helsing starts giving transfusions. Eventually, Dr. Van Helsing runs out of blood. They're not going to ask Mina, so they ask who? Quincy Morris. So Quincy Morris comes down. He donates his blood, because he's like young and hot and Texan, so his blood is double potent. Lucy is getting better, but she's also getting worse because every night some weird tapping appears at the window and Lucy opens it and Mina's like, she must be warm, but also she's getting sick. Eventually she sees a big bat. You know what's going on. They have no idea, but there's a big bat at the window. The bat is of course drinking Lucy's blood. They don't know. They just know she's losing blood. So Quincy Morris donates a ton of blood. Dr. Seward depleted. Dr. Van Helsing depleted. Quincy Morris depleted. Finally, they ask Arthur Homewood, who has been away making a home for his new fiance. So he comes back. They're like, can we have some of your blood? Because Lucy's very ill. Arthur's like, oh my God, this is how I will prove my love to Lucy, that our blood will mingle. This is our true marriage. And all of the men are like, yes. But they've already given blood to Lucy, so they're all married to Lucy. This is the harem. Eventually what ends up happening is Lucy dies because the mom took the garlic off the wall. A wolf comes in the fucking thing. The wolf, as you know, the big black dog from the ship, that was Dracula. Dracula has wolf powers. I bet you didn't know that about vampires. They are also wolves. Dracula runs in as a wolf. He eats everybody in the fucking house. The mom has a heart attack. Lucy gets attacked by the wolf. She dies. Everybody's like, damn, all that blood that we wasted. Mina has been with Jonathan Harker because at this point, Jonathan Harker shows up in Budapest in a convent. So we lost time in between the ship running aground and Jonathan jumping out the window. He successfully escaped, was extremely ill, sick, and injured, gets found up in this convent in Budapest. The nuns bring him in and are like, can you remember anything? He's like, not a damn thing. Eventually he's like, oh, my fiance, Mina Harker. So they contact Mina and they're like, hey, I think this is your husband. Mina's like, oh my God. She gets married to Jonathan up there. Jonathan's okay now, but he's like, I'm in a very fragile state. I have a journal that I think is the reason why I got fucked up. I don't remember anything about anything except you. So here's the journal. Let's get married while I'm sick, because that way, if anything happens, at least we love each other and we've proven it. Promise me you'll never read it. Mina's like, of course not. Mina reads that shit. Mina has been keeping these extremely detailed records as an aspiring journalist of everything that happened with Lucy. They come in with Jonathan and is like, I think some shit's going on here. Dr. Van Helsing's like, what shit do you think? Because I'm not going to tell you what I think. Mina's like, some suspicious shit. Van Helsing's like, crack that journal open. They open the journal. All of the thoughts are confirmed. At this time also, children are disappearing all around the village. Van Helsing brings the three men out to Lucy's grave. Lucy's not in the fucking grave. All the men are like, this is like sacrilege. This is grave desecration. We love this woman. What are you doing, Van Helsing? You've gone too far. Lucy walks in the graveyard holding a child. Like dead vampirist Lucy, of course. And she's sexy as fuck. And all the men are like, wait a second. This Lucy is sexier than I remember. Also, why do I feel dirty looking at her? Of course, this is the 19th century, so this is some complicated patriarchal feelings, Madonna horror complex. We all know what's going on. These men are like, she's not pure and innocent virgin anymore. She looks like a slut. I hate her, but I do want to fuck her. Lucy, of course, she's a vampire. She gets blamed for it. They save the kid. And then Arthur Homewood is the one that they give the honor to as her husband to stake her through the heart, cut off her head, stuff the mouth full of garlic, and then put host around the door to fully trap the vampire. They do that. Van Helsing says the V word for the first time. Jonathan Harker's like, oh my God, I'm having a mental breakdown because now all of a sudden I remember all this shit. So he has a mental breakdown. Mina goes, men, I would like to collect all of your private records. I'm going to compile a 500-page document of everybody's journals so that we have the facts, because now we're fucking in it, boys. Dr. Seward does like phonographs, so like tube recordings, like those cylinder things. So Mina transcribes all of those, writes down everything from everybody's journals, finds out, yeah, it's a fucking vampire that we're dealing with. And then Renfield lets Dracula into the house because Renfield has now given up on eating all these shits. And he goes, actually, matter of fact, my master's here. I don't have to deal with this. I know how to get eternal life. And I get eternal life by being completely subservient to the vampire lord Dracula. He lets Dracula in the house. Dracula comes upstairs, bites the shit out of Mina. Now Mina is a vampire. All of the men who know what's going on are trying to protect Mina from this. Mina cannot be protected from this. They are the brains of this operation. Mina is lying in bed, extremely sick, ill, dying, bloodless, calls everybody in and goes, listen, this is what I need you to do. I need y'all to, if I start to turn into a vampire, you're gonna kill me, cut my head off, stake me through the heart, and stuff me with garlic, and promise it. Promise it now. And everybody's like, Mina is so fucking badass. I am now officially in love with Mina. Mina has now acquired the entire harem, plus one, that Lucy once had. Their husband, Dr. John Seward, Quincy Morris, Arthur Holmwood, and Dr. Van Helsing are all like, I ride and die for Mina Harker. This is one of the most badass things in the book. They take the Eucharist, place it on Mina's forehead, it sears a hole in Mina's skin, and for the rest of the book, Mina has a Eucharist shape on their forehead with the cross and everything, just as a visual reminder that Mina is now turning into a vampire. Dracula is in the town, just biting people left and right. Obviously, this is a problem for English society and for Christians in general. Bram Stoker writes about like Christianity and about how this is really bad because the Christians are being turned into like works of the devil. It adds to the drama and to the flavor of the text. Cool, got it, whatever. Save the Christians. Section 3. This portion of the book is an adventure chase through the mountains of Transylvania. So Dracula, they destroy all of his dirt boxes, his 50 boxes of dirt that he brought that's like consecrated earth from his home in Transylvania. While he's asleep, the men are like sneaking off to the properties that he has distributed these earth boxes into, ruining the dirt basically. So Dracula doesn't have any place to stay. They cannot find the last dirt box, but he only has one left. So they're like, this man's about to go to Transylvania. Mina, by the way, has memorized all of the ship and train times because they are the go. They're like, when are the ships and the trains leaving? Mina is like, I got this. They leave at these times. So they're going to be in Russia when Dracula arrives in Russia by ship. He takes a ship because there's some compelling reason. They puzzle it out Sherlock Holmes style. Mina also is now capable of going into a vampiric trance at sunrise and sunset. If Van Helsing hypnotizes Mina at a specific time, Mina can tell where Dracula is by speaking the sounds that they hear while channeling Dracula. Quincy Morris and Dr. John Seward leave on horseback to go and fuck up Dracula's house. Mina and Dr. Van Helsing take a horse-drawn carriage up into the mountains. So now they've separated groups to try and head Dracula off at the pass, because this is some really dangerous shit. They could all become vampires. If they become vampires, all of a sudden the whole world will be vampires. They are now split up. Mina starts acting super manipulative and weird, and Van Helsing is like, is Mina a vampire? And if Mina's a vampire, I'm gonna have to fucking kill Mina. It's just me and Mina. I'm gonna have to kill Mina. And so every night Van Helsing's like, oh my god, is tonight the night that I kill Mina? One night it is the night, because Mina and him are around a campfire and Mina's not cold. And then around the circle of fire they start hearing this laughter of tinkling bells, and Van Helsing's like, what the fuck? And of course, here comes the sexy vampiresses. They just start like coming in around the circle, and they're like, sister, come on Mina, come on, join us. And Van Helsing's like, yeah, I'm gonna have to fucking kill Mina at this exact moment. He turns around, a knife in his hand. Mina's like pale, fangs, looking like a real vampire. He's about to stab her to death, and then he notices that Mina's face is a face of fear and like Christian horror. Van Helsing's like, Mina is still savable. I will let them live one more night. So they stay up the entire night trying to fight off these vampiresses. He just keeps Mina like in the center of the circle to try and protect them. The climax of the story is that everybody runs down this mountain as Dracula is being brought into his house by these sexy Transylvanian men who have been paid a lot of money to like deliver Dracula safely to his house. Quincy Morris and whoever else, the men have gone and secured Dracula's house and like put host all over it and destroyed his sacred relics at this point. So I guess they like beat the vampiresses off or something. Some of the vampires are defeated. At the critical juncture, Dracula's coming up the road like this. Mina, 98% vampire at this point, and Van Helsing see across the thing, oh my god, here comes Quincy Morris on the horse with Dr. John Seward, and they come down like this. Mina comes down like this, like running full force down the mountain to try and beat Dracula. Here comes whoever else is left, Jonathan Harker, whoever the fuck. Renfield is dead. He's back at home. I think Dracula killed him, like bashed his head, and then he was sorry at the last minute. Whatever. Well, the men are congregating. Mina's congregating. They arrive. The Transylvanian burly men don't speak any English. They're like, what the fuck? This is our cargo. They take knives out. The other guys take knives out. It's a harem battle, 4-on-4. The vampiresses, the sexy Transylvanian men, Dracula. The sun is going down. If the sun goes down, Dracula's finna come out of his box and bite everybody in the vicinity. The stakes are high. Everyone's gonna die. The men jump onto the backs of the Transylvanian men, Quincy Morris gets fucking stabbed. The men pry the lid off of Dracula's box. Dracula sits up. He looks around. He's like, fuck yeah, it's my time. I've won. And then somebody stabs him in the chest. I don't remember who. It doesn't matter. It's all the men at once, plus Mina, plus Van Helsing. They defeat Dracula. He dies, evaporates into a thing of smoke or whatever it is that vampires do. So now all the Transylvanian men are like, oh, I see what you were telling me now. They just ride off. Everybody else is stuck here in the snow. And they're like, do we win? I don't understand. Have we won? Do vampires exist? They look over at Quincy Morris. Quincy Morris is bleeding out. Mina's crying all over Quincy's body. Quincy's like, wait, it was worth it. Moves Mina's hair out of the way, and the Eucharist mark is gone. So vampires have been defeated. There are no more vampires in the world is what that means. Because I guess the vampire spell breaks when Dr. King Vampire died. Quincy Morris dies in everybody's arms. One of the polycule has been lost, traumatizing for everybody else in the polycule. And that's where it ends. So there's an epilogue, and in the epilogue, everybody's fine. Mina has a kid that they named Quincy Morris with Arthur Homewood, which seems a little like the man was in love with you. That's a little insensitive. But so they name their kid Quincy Morris. Arthur Homewood has now married another rich lady. Van Helsing is taking care of all these brats, boarding school brats. I think Dr. John Seward has married someone, which is surprising because Dr. John Seward was like obsessed with Renfield and had no real redeeming qualities, but it's a happy ending. Everybody misses Quincy, everybody misses Lucy. A little sad because in the face-off of the harems, it was Dracula and his sexy vampiresses against like the Christian harem. Like, we're a polycule, but like in the eyes of God. Kind of wanted the sexy harem to win, just cause. If we were all vampires, would it really be so bad? Anyways, that's the story. That's Dracula, the best harem anime of all time. 4-on-4 harem battle. Who else is doing it like that? I don't think anybody is. I'm tired, so I'll finish the conclusion of this video tomorrow. See you then in a different outfit. I've been editing this video for 6 hours now. I like it. I hope you liked it. I hope you had a good time. I actually kind of got carried away with the story because the story is really good and I didn't really compare it to any other harem animes, but I hope that's okay with you because this is the best harem anime of all time. I think all harem animes should be compared to this. I don't have to compare it to other ones. I also haven't seen another one, so I hope I got the idea right. Now you don't have to read the book. I hope you write your book report using this video because if you do, you will get an A. So, I mean, overall, a good time, a fun time. I hope you had a good time with me today. I like doing these. I'll probably do more of them. If you like Gothic literature, I like Gothic literature. You're gonna have a good time with me. There are a couple other of these on my channel, I guess. I did Wuthering Heights, I did Frankenstein, I did Fahrenheit 451. Let me know if you like this. If you didn't, let me know what else I should do, okay? I'll talk to you later. Bye. Don't get bit by any vampires. Put some garlic in your room. And also, don't go opening doors and shit. Also, be careful of wolves, because they could be vampires. Okay, see you later.